Hello, YouTube. Um, I don't want to start this with a kind of negative or bitchy tone because I know I come off to some people maybe as a bit bitchy, and I'm not trying to. And I say that for lack of a better word. Um, Again, I politics is a really and philosophy and the stuff that I do is a very I don't know how to explain it. It's what I do, but it's still very negative. I don't get paid to do it. I get paid for it, and I'm sure you don't think I should, and I probably shouldn't. But it's still just something very negative. But it's what I do, and it's what I'm involved in. And let me put it this way: it's the only thing I care about, but it's a hell of a lot different than being interested in football or something more innocent. Let's put it that way. Political issues and political matters can be something that's depressing after a while. And of course, I have other issues in my life that I don't like and things wrong with me, health problems and things like that, mental health, physical health, so on and so forth. And then I have to worry about political issues and sociological issues and things like that on top of it. And it's not easy. But getting to the point, I think it was the last video was about two girls that were essentially saying they prefer circumcised over uncircumcised uh, men. And of course, that's probably not rare in America. It's still very common here. I am circumcised, but I still feel offended when I hear shit like that. Just because, I mean, anytime, like, it would be like me talking about, I like women to have a labiaplasty. I like women to have breast implants. You wouldn't think I was an absolute asshole, and you'd probably be right. But that's something that's very offensive to me. But then again, it's not like it's a uncommon event. It's not even that many people watched it. Um, and a lot of people disliked it. It's probably got well over half dislikes. And it was from an older video that I thought it was. I probably wouldn't even talk about it. It was like from 5 months ago, so there's nothing I do. But I don't make this entire video about circumcision. I just want to say that just go over it once again. I'm really just making this video to let you know I'm still involved in politics, whether it be foreign policy, gay rights and transgender rights, criminal justice reform, ending police abuse, environmental issues, just children's rights, not just circumcision, but children's rights in general, animal rights, all of that. I still care a great deal about that, and I'm still doing this. For what reason, sometimes I don't even know because I don't think I'm doing a great deal of good, but I'm trying anyways. The point is, I'm not sure what I'm trying to do, but I am trying. Anyways, this is just going to be a video restating what's wrong with circumcision, and again, all the reasons why you should be against it and why I am against it. And after this, I'll probably I've said this before and I never end up doing it, but at least until something else happens concerning this, I plan on hopefully not really talking about the issue very much more, other than to just say, by the way, that's wrong. I've talked about it before, like that, and don't do it. But other than that, I'm not going to be talking about it in most of my videos, and I hope to be ignoring the issue largely because I'm really tired of talking about it at any event. It's wrong, and someone has got to do it, but it's still just really wrong, and I do think that there is more negative opinions about genital mutilation, so that's good unless people are doing it. But getting to the point, so maybe I don't have to do it as much. Other people are kind of doing that more and more and more. And a lot of people did it before I really got heavy into it. But I've been doing this for really over a decade. So, but just going into detail, it fucking killed 20,000 nerve endings, the penis. And if you're chopping off nerve endings, that's going to make the penis less sensitive. I mean, that's going to happen. It's not going to be sensitive, or at least nearly as sensitive as it would be, and that makes sex not as good for the male. It makes sex suck more for the male and the woman in actuality because it helps with anal intercourse in particular. It can help the penis go in, but also it helps rub against the clit, So it's very important for the guy really when he's older to not be circumcised. And again, if he feels differently when he's older enough, he can do it himself. I don't see why the hell this has to be something. So I mean that's odd. It's not like you can only do this at an infant. You can do that at any age, just let the kid decide. I mean, to me, that's obvious. But beyond that, and more seriously, it can cause other botches. It can cause severe scarification. I mean, everyone has scars. If you have one, you get a little bit of that going on. But I'm talking about severe adhesion, severe negative things. It can cause that in some people. It can also lead to a sex change. It can lead to the child having to undergo a sexual reassignment surgery. Some people have to undergo sex changes because of that, and especially if you're someone in the right wing that is against transgender children, and I'm not. I support that. I don't think transgender children are in some way being sexualized, and these are people that don't. And I really believe pretty much the same thing about drag kids or drag queen children. And I think that some of these people are people that have severe misunderstandings in a lot of ways of what the difference between gender and sexuality is. And I've went into explaining that before. I'm not really going into that. They're still talking about that. They never shut up talking about the same subjects. But yeah, you don't think mutilating a child's penis so that maybe a girl or some gay guy might think that the child's penis is more attractive when he's 18. You're talking about 18 years from now, and you're talking about adults having sex, and you're talking about a child. How is that not objectifying a child in the weirdest and most inhumane way possible? And just the most peculiar. I don't think I said that right, but anyways, the most bizarre way possible. And but again, it can castrate the child or lead to a sex change, is my point. So if you're against children being transgender or anything like that, then you should oppose this. And it can also kill the child. It can and again, children don't have sex changes. If a child is transgender or anything like that, he will do that after he's 18. And honestly, even then, I think he should undergo a little bit of therapy about it, because I think a lot of people have a lot of gender dysphoria, but still, it should be their right. And I don't think parents should oppress their children by telling them, well, you can't be transgender. I mean, I think the kid has some idea of what gender he is. Now, kids do go through phases, but that's a hell of a damn phase to go through. I mean, you know. So there's that, but and I think it should be the same thing for any genital modification. You should wait till after you're 18 to get the procedure done. I also don't, and I've said this before, I don't support piercing baby girls' ears. Now, on the other end, that might not have to wait till you're 18, 19, simply because it's not a major thing to begin with, and it will heal up. But it's to still wait till later. It should still wait until way later in life where the child decides to have its ears pierced, or the girl to have their ears pierced. So that's also very important, and I'm against that too. But the point I'm making is, I guess, I'm against any gender modification, and you see what I'm talking about. I've already spent the majority of this video talking about that one fucking subject, so let's get on to something else. But there's reasons to be against it, and if nothing else, let me finish off by saying this before I end this. Before I go, well, I'm going to talk about some other stuff. Before I do, it can kill between 50 and 100 children it has a year, or at least that's what I read when it was taking the statistics of how many children died just in America, and mostly medical facilities from the procedure that bled to death or died from going into shock. And it killed between 50 and 120 children a year. So it's a pretty serious fucking subject, if you ask me. But anyway, moving into something else, because I can't talk about this forever. And probably a major pusher of genital mutilation, along with the very late-term abortions that are happening in New York, and a major pusher of a lot of weird stuff, the extreme right-left divide, a lot of the pusher of the belief that we have to have very strict and rigid gender rules, the major pusher of a lot of the wars that we have, and the giving of money to other countries to raise war, a major reason we're so dependent on Saudi Arabia for our oil, or for foreign oil, and a major reason why we can't have renewable energy or some form of solar energy, and a lot of other stuff, is called the neoconservative. Not even neocons, or rather not even conservatives, by the way, or not even conservatives, and I'm not too friendly with them either, but I'm not even talking about that. I'm literally talking about neoconservatives that they're a weird group, to say the least, and all I'm going to say about that is just look up Project for a New American Century, and stuff they talk about as early as the 70s happening in America to take us into wars. But one of the things they're trying to do now is pretty much support the Democratic cause for impeaching Trump. And again, Trump has blasted Fox for pretty much seemingly promoting and giving probably what amounts to false news statistics about 51% of Americans wanting Trump impeached, and I don't believe that. And I personally am a Democrat, barely, but I am a Democrat, and I'm a liberal Democrat at that. But I don't even, damn it. 1 minute. But I am a liberal Democrat at that, but I don't even support impeaching the president because I don't see really much at this point to impeach him on. And I've talked about Fox News before promoting propaganda, and they had the two crack doctors on there promoting genital mutilation because that is starting to slowly but surely go the way of the dinosaur, and they don't want that to happen for whatever reason. And here they are again, largely because of profit motives, and that was the reason they did in the first place, anyways. And they were promoting literally medical insurance covering this, and we know the last time they did that, or that happened in pretty much all 50 states, they didn't even use it for medical, for the pain medicine. They weren't even putting it to use for what they were supposed to be. So they were just scamming the public out of money, and they were literally stealing money from people. But that's not the point here. The point is they're behind circumcision. I'm sure a lot of these neocons are, and they're also behind these wars. And they want to impeach Trump, and I'll go into explain to you the real reason why, or the real reason why they want to impeach Trump, if you'll let me. But this is the real reason why they would want to get rid of Trump. Rand Paul, regardless of what I think of him or his father, who I don't have, like I said, they got me into politics. They were really, I mean, Ron Paul, I think, because before that I kind of supported Obama, I guess, or I think that was, I don't know, when did that first Republican debate air, in 2007? I don't know, but the point is, he was really one of the first guys to get me into politics. So I'm not anti-Ron Paul, but there's a lot of shit I disagree with him about. And I mean, a lot of that shit, like not wanting to cover real healthcare expenses, not what I'm talking about. And you can even debate whether we should cover things like abortion and that type of stuff. But the point is, I do believe that we should help cover healthcare for all people. And people need healthcare. We need to help the homeless and do more to help the homeless and try to provide affordable housing, rather, and housing and food and things for the homeless and people like that need it, and try to help these people. I don't think we've done nearly enough to help them. But the point is, we need to do more to help the homeless, help with lots of different people. But what I'm going into detail about is one thing I did agree with Ron Paul and Rand Paul on, and still do, is he wants to essentially leave most of these countries we're fighting wars for. And I think he was talking about a specific country, but they're attacking, and now Fox News as well. And I was talking about Fox News is shit back in that George W. Bush direction, rather, that they had and they still have. And you would have to be crazy to think they made that big of a change, or changes that soon, really. But they seem to now be bashing Trump. And the reason they're bashing him is because he's opposing this neocon war party, the war party that is quickly, whether we like it or not, starting to become Democrats. And there are some people that oppose it. And that is why, beggars can't be picky. Maybe I don't like everything someone like Tulsi Gabbard says. I don't think we should impeach the president. But I will say this, she is anti-war, and she's the most anti-war candidate that I've seen since Ron Paul. And yet, at the same time, I agree with her about a lot of other stuff, and things she said about supporting certain people's rights, and a lot of liberal and kind of Bernie Sanders-esque policies that someone like Ron Paul is against. Well, she supports that too. And she seems like a reasonable president to me. I don't know exactly what she would do, but I know she has supported, or said she supports, abortion up until the 2nd-month mark in one rally she did, campaign rally. But I would argue that it should end after the first term of, or rather the first term of a pregnancy. But then again, I don't know the trimesters or how that works. I thought 4 months was the first trimester, but maybe it's 2 months. I don't know, but I think it should not be legal after 4 months. I mean, that's my belief on that. And I think before that, it should be your right to have an abortion. I even think that government should cover abortion, but it should also be an issue of, that it should be, and I even said that about circumcision. I mean, maybe it would drive down the rates, but if they actually would spend it, and they don't ever spend it on that, but if they would spend it on pain medication for the baby, here I am talking about that again, but if they would in the same video, of course. But if they would just spend it on pain medicine for the baby, that might be one thing. They weren't even doing that. They were giving the baby for probably less pain medicine in the past than they are now. And if you're circumcised, you're my age or older than me, you probably weren't giving any kind of fucking pain medicine when they did this shit. And that's not known about really, but it's true. And probably even after that, for all we know, it probably is going on now. And you're paying out of pocket now for these damn crack doctors not to even help give the kid proper pain relief. And I'm not talking about serious general anesthesia to put the kid to sleep. I'm talking about they're not giving the kid or help the child go to sleep. They're not giving the child any pain relief. The point is back to abortion. They should cover abortions up to the first trimester, 4 months, whenever that is. But the point is, Tulsi Gabbard's against these wars, and Rand Paul is too, and that's one of the things that neocons pretty much still support. And I'm all over the place in this fucking video, so I might as well go ahead and end it because I'm not concentrating on one subject at a time, and it's probably becoming confusing. But anyways, I guess beyond that, and sticking to the war issue, Trump talks about the military-industrial complex. And he talked about they're a major enforcer and pusher of the wars that we're in, and they're a major pusher of the wars that we're in, that we're fighting, and that he talked about that being a problem. And he comes out and says this, and that's one thing I like about him. I mean, you don't see that a lot, especially we have never seen that from a president. Obama might have been a little bit better, at least in some ways, about rhetoric than as far as some things were than George W. Bush was. But he never would come out and say, any of this. Bernie Sanders, maybe, Tulsi Gabbard, there's maybe Yang even, but no one ever comes out and talks about that other than Trump, and he's a fucking president, so that's pretty cool to have a president that is openly anti-war and trying to prevent war with a lot of these countries, and he is doing that. You have to give him some credit for that, whether you like him or not. You have to give that man credit. You have to give that man credit, or give the man credit, because if someone can't ever admit they're wrong, if some liberals can't do, then you can't expect us to ever take you seriously, And look, I've admitted I've been wrong about things in the past, because I was. Even now, I'm considering whether or not I might be wrong about gun control, but not that I am, because I still support gun rights. But I have considered the fact whether or not that maybe it wouldn't be better to have some regulation of guns, because it can be dangerous and it does kill a lot of people. But at this point, I still don't support that, and I don't think it would do any good. And there's proof and statistics or evidence, rather to the contrary, that there are polls taken and things that show that crime rates, or in particularly violent crime rates, only go up when you regulate, or the more heavier you regulate guns. So I don't think that's going to do any good. But there was also a major blizzard in in part of, I think was it Colorado, or where was it? I think it was Denver, Colorado. So there was a major blizzard there. I don't know if it's global warming or, maybe it's just a higher power way of kind of, telling us to go after ourselves for screwing up the environment and everything else up, including, like I've talked about before, we've totally fucked up the gender relations in this country. We had the Constitution, we fucked it up. We fucked up our economic system. We don't help the poor. We fucked over the poor. We fucked up our foreign policy. We have wars every day all over the place. But regardless, I would likely suggest more that it's probably got something to do with our direct interference and indirect interference with the environment, and that's why meat eating is something else that needs to end, because that is more effective than just, it's worse than just killing an animal, even though that's horrible enough. You're also indirectly affecting the environment because of overpopulation of animal life, along with human life for that matter. It's totally fucking up the environment, and we need to change over to a vegan diet. That could happen probably pretty easily if you just oversaturate the market with vegan products the way that they did, and other health products, and probably in some cases even including things like raw milk. But if you would saturate the market with whatever vegan product or some other product that might not even be vegan, then you would probably drive down the amount of animals in this country and the killing of animals. But that's not the point. Anyways, I just want to end, well, I guess that is part of the point, but I just want to end this video by saying that I really would rather you not circumcise your child, especially without looking into that, and that's about all. P666.